Katherine and I'm here to talk about war and the Aeneid. I think I would ask, before you watch this, to sort of keep in mind that Virgil's message on war is actually quite applicable to today, or any time really. And I think a lot of our world leaders could maybe take a page out of his book and realize that war is tragic and that it sucks, basically, in a nutshell. And it will continue to do so until we put an end to it. And to remember really that the reality of most people's worlds today is living in the ravages of war. So keep that in mind. Anyway, war and the Aeneid. Okay, let's get started. I think it's important to look at the context that the poem's really written in when we discuss what role war has. We obviously know that the Romans were known for their military capabilities. They conquered half of Europe. They were a strong force. But I think Virgil sort of writes this poem from the standpoint that, war is not all that glorious. And although the Romans were good at it, they suffered a lot for it in their history. He begins this sort of idea in Book 7 with the departure of Pallas from Evander, and later Pallas dies, which is perhaps one of the most tragic parts of the book for me. But the parting between the two is quite poignant. It's line 770, that's where it starts in Book 7, and it's really sort of Evander understanding that his son really could get killed and sort of praying that he hopes that doesn't happen, and really sort of it hitting home that his son is leaving to go to war, and he will learn a lot from Aeneas, but hopefully will come back alive, because Evander doesn't think he could really survive without his son, which is only natural. And then we see it again with Euryalus. His mother, her grieving after he dies is extremely dramatic and very descriptive. And I think through that dramatic scene, we really sort of see Virgil trying to show that war is that which perverts peace. And it perverts nature. It perverts the order of nature. The child going before the parent is in itself completely unnatural. And I think, Virgil gives us multiple examples of this, both with the father figure and the mother figure, to show that war really brings misery. And though we're eager, in the way that Evander was eager for Pallas to learn from Aeneas and fight the war, at the end of the day, our children are more important to us, and the actual people are more important than the skills that they learn or the honor. I think the happiness that Evander would have felt had Pallas come home would have been great, but it would have been more about Pallas coming home than Pallas going and learning the ways of warfare. It's not really the skills that are involved in war. It's the human lives. It's not the honor or the glory. It's whether you live through it. And these young boys don't. And Virgil writes very sympathetically that they don't. And he shows that war destroys innocence and youth and takes away that which could later lead to greatness. So very, very sad for me to read that. I was very upset. It's hard to see that and realize that that's a reality for almost anyone who enters into war. But I think also, mainly for me, in strong support of Virgil's dislike for war, is the character of Aeneas. He's referred to so many times as the father of peace, and I think rightfully so. Through Aeneas, and Aeneas is, he doesn't want to fight the war at all, and I think through that resistance to the war and wanting to keep the truce and the compromise and really just fighting it only because it's part of his destiny, Virgil really paints war as that horrific yet necessary means to an ending that is glorious. I mean, the founding of Rome, yeah, it's glorious, but it took a horrific war, and I think Virgil's really trying to say that. So Virgil's been pretty negative about war, and it's quite clear to pick up on it. Then we have that scene with the shield, and it's kind of like, okay, Aeneas is smiling and he's looking at the shield. Why did Virgil include that? And I think part of it is that it's very important for a people to have pride in their history, and very important for them to have pride in the hurdles that they've overcome. it brings cohesion to a civilization. So I don't think that Virgil is saying, you can't be proud of the wars that were fought, and you can't take pride and smile in your ancestors' accomplishments. Just also learn from it. Learn that we can smile at the shield, but that's not reality. We also need to, shed a tear or two over Pallas, over the son dying and the mother being left or the father being left. So two very different views on war. But take note that the shield is one object. It's one, it represents a lot, but it's not, it's not as a poignant description as the deaths of the two young men are. And I think that's done purposely. And also, the connection to Aeneas is important. Aeneas being the father of peace, the connection, that's why it's important to Augustus. Augustus wants to lead this civilization that's hungry for peace. And that's why I think that he likes being connected to Aeneas, because Aeneas wanted that peace. So I think that really highlights it, that, he was known for his mercy, and he was, attached to the establishment of peace, and that's what Augustus wants to be known for, too. So, it's descriptive writing on Virgil's part of really what a true tragedy war is. And, I really enjoyed the poem, but I think, more importantly, I really appreciated and was very grateful for Virgil's recognition of the tragedy of man, that, it is war. He's able to effectively show that no matter what victories may come out of it, war essentially stands to leave fathers, mothers, friends, and perhaps most importantly, leaders grieving. When leaders such as Aeneas did comprehend the need for peace and the detriment to people that war is, I think only then can change really come. It's the responsibility of a leader to fend off war at all costs and to seek compromise and truce. I think this work is applicable to anybody because, like it or not, war lives on, and I guess we can just hope that perhaps the spirit of Aeneas and the spirit of peace, or the desire for peace, can live on too and overcome that. No more war, peace. So happy Easter, and thanks for watching.